Welcome to another edition of Ask Anthony Live. Today we're talking about a story raising questions about faith, free speech, and flags. A Jacksonville man says he's simply spreading a spiritual message, but his homeowners association says he's actually breaking the rules.
The flag's been up about a month now.
If you drive down Atlantic Boulevard, you may have noticed this flag waving in the backyard of a home in the Sun Lakes neighborhood. It says Jesus returns. Hector Gonzalez is the man behind it. This is just you expressing your religion.
Sure
You just
is.
want to get a message across.
Yeah. It's an important message.
But according to a letter from the Homeowners Association, it says this display in his backyard is against HOA rules. According to the covenant and restrictions, no signs shall be displayed on any residential lot except for rent or for sale signs.
The HOA started sending us letters saying that we had to remove the sign. Of course, I ignored it. Then they threatened to fine us $100 a day, up to 10 days. And finally, they came to our home.
In 2023, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill that increases the number of flags homeowners can display regardless of rules created by the Homeowners Association. But a religious flag isn't one of them. All right, so the question is this a clear rules violation or an attack on religious expression? Ryan Moore is an attorney with First Coast Consumer Law, spoke with him about this issue and what is the best way to communicate with your HOA when it comes to disputes. When it comes to situations like this, this gentleman in particular, he says that he's expressing his religion. But when it comes to HOA rules and regulations on what you can put on your property, let's talk about the legal aspect of that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, HOAs are not state actors, so they're not subject to the First Amendment right to free speech. And really what governs is going to be Florida statutes and the governing documents for your HOA. So your declarations, your bylaws, whatever rules the HOA has in place, those are what are going to govern what you're able to put on your property.
And in a situation like this, is the homeowner able to sue the HOA or take any legal action against them?
So if the HOA is in violation of its own rules and demanding that you remove a flag like this, then yes, there's the potential for a lawsuit there. It is tricky because when you think about suing an HOA, you are essentially suing yourself. You're suing your own group that you're a member of, and you're suing your neighbors. So there's some tricky stuff there. The thing to remember is that pursuant to Florida law, really you're only entitled to put up a United States flag, the flag of the state of Florida, and then law enforcement and military flags. So if the HOA is telling you that you've got a flag that is in violation of the HOA bylaws, that's what you're going to have to look at and see if your flag is permitted under the rules. And unfortunately, if it's not, it's probably going to be wise to remove that flag.
Can you, and I know we didn't talk about this earlier, I don't know if you would know this right off the top of your head. Has there ever been anything in the past where someone's been able to successfully maybe file a lawsuit against their HOA and win in this situation and keep something like this up on their property?
For the most part, what I see is that the courts are very much inclined to allow HOAs to make their own rules. And so if the rule says that you can't have that type of flag up, that's the rule and you're going to have to abide by it.
What is the best way to handle a dispute with your HOA? If you have something on your property and the HOA is telling you that it's against their rules and bylaws, what is the best way to handle that as a homeowner?
Well, first and foremost, go to the rules, go to the bylaws, see what you're permitted to do. After that, make sure that you move very quickly because you don't want to start incurring fees or anything like that. You don't want this possible problem to snowball. You want to get this taken care of right away. So make sure that the rules are allowing you to put the flag up. And if they are, then you can potentially do that. I would always suggest consulting with an attorney if you're having trouble reviewing the laws, reviewing the rules, and making sure that you're in the right if you're going to keep a flag up when the HOA is telling you not to do so. One other thing that I would say is communication is key. Don't just ignore them. Don't blow it off. Talk to them, look at your rules, try to figure out whether or not you're in the right or they're in the right and go from there.
Right. And so just once again, in a situation like this, even if it is something, because like you mentioned about the governor, he is allowing military flags and like some, um, I think first responder flags as well, and the United States flag to be flown, despite HOA rules, even when it comes to something that might be expressing your religion. You said, the First Amendment doesn't translate to that. Just kind of talk a little bit about that again.
Well, again, an HOA is not a state actor, so they're not
Yeah.
subject to the First Amendment, and your right to free speech is not governed in an HOA scenario. You're going to be governed by the rules and regulations. The statute that you want to look at for flags that are permitted by law under HOAs is going to be at Florida Statute 720.304. That enumerates the types of flags that are allowed, regardless of what the HOA rules say. But if you're outside of that statute, then it's going to be the HOA rules that govern.
So once again, that was Ryan Moore with First Coast Consumer Law. Now, as for Gonzalez, he says he has no plans to remove this flag, and he's prepared to fight the fines if it comes to that. If the issue escalates, he says he's willing to take it to court. And I do have an update on this situation. The president of the management company for the Homeowners Association called me and said that they will not be enforcing any fines at this time. The reason, Gonzalez's mother is the legal homeowner, and she has been cooperating in the matter. Remember, you can always email me at askanthony@firstcoastnews.com.